Delegation remains the biggest move of God because the world is a global project. And for anyone who wants to build a global project, there must be a deep understanding of delegation. It is impossible to be in every place at every time. And so delegation remains the key to a successful global project. And that is why the greatest move of God is not the creation alone, but delegation. He understands that it does not have to build car, it does not have to build plane, it does not have to do every other thing after he has created the system. And so he put up that key skill of delegation in his system. Today you can see people creating new human beings. Men and women comes together and then give birth to a new child. And then the creation continues. So it is not to create a system, but to sustain it. And to sustain a global system, it requires delegation. But the bottom line of delegation is selflessness, detachment. You've got to understand that whoever that takes the credit does not matter as long as there is a result. And let me tell you, if you do not care about whoever that takes the credit, everything is possible. And so here to delegate, you've got to understand that ego must be off the table. Because the reason why majority of people cannot delegate is because they still live with ego. They live deeply with ego. They want to control. They always want to be there. But if you want to build a global brand, you've got to have that understanding that it is not possible for you to be at every point, every time. And so you must build a system. The foundational work must be done by you. Create a system. A system that will allow leadership. A system that will allow other leaders to emerge. A system that will allow mistakes. Because let me tell you, if you do not allow mistakes, creativity is not allowed. So a system that does not tolerate mistakes will surely kill creativity. Because people will be scared of taking on a new idea. People will be scared of trying new things in that system. And so creativity, progress is not possible. So to build a global brand, a global project, you've got to deeply understand how delegation works. You've got to be able to build the foundational work of the business. Put up the right vision, put up the right core values, put up the right mission statement, and build a culture. Because when leader is not available, culture remains the leadership. Culture assumes the role of leadership when leader is not available. You've got to deliberately and carefully create a culture that the system will run with. So for anyone who is trying to put up the concept of a global project, who wants to build a global project, you've got to deeply start with the understanding of delegation. You cannot do it without delegation. So you've got to understand delegation. And delegation works with detachment, with selflessness. You do not care about who is going to run the system as long as the system is going to be run properly. You do not have to be on everybody's neck. You've got to allow them to do it. You do not have to micromanage people. You just have to allow people to go through it, make mistakes. So the foundational process is that you start the idea, you bring in people into the idea, you supervise them for some period of time, and then begin to supervise them from distance and get to the level where you allow them to do things on their own. Let me tell you, when you begin to allow people, you allow them to build muscle. You allow them to build trust in themselves.
The House of Purpose and Power.